Good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend our day of hope and community. I want to take a special moment to thank Andrew O'Grady, the longtime CEO of Mental Health of America, Dutchess County. He has been an incredible support and resource. I am Lori Tartarsky, a survivor and thriver of mental health challenges and addiction. There's an expression that states the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. I have thankfully taken the first step and then some. It has at times been a perilous road with many pitfalls, yet the cinematic view tops of the metaphoric mountains has been splendorous as well. I grew up on Long Island, New York, to say the least, from grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, my brother, etc. We had an eclectic and personality-filled family. Emotions were always running deep and high. If it was a laugh, it was a belly laugh. If it was a tear, it was many tears being shed. If it was a scream, it was a loud, frightening rage. However, I was allotted many opportunities as a child. We were an upper middle class family, so having the finer things were possible. More importantly, I was shown love from family and many friends. Although we weren't an extremely religious family, I sensed there was a God, and every evening, before I would sleep, I would pray that God would keep my loved ones happy, healthy, and safe. Many decades later, my prayers remain. Everything stayed status quo until my 17th birthday, and then my encapsulated castle became a dark dungeon. My father, my beloved, passed away in front of my eyes after dealing with a terminal disease. Would my heart ever be repaired from this reprehensible life event? Everyone mourned the loss of a great man taken far too young. My mom would ultimately never be the same without her high school sweetheart. Soon after, I would attend college in Boca Raton, Florida. I would study journalism and communication, interest of mine since a young age. On a side note, I'd study compulsive eating, drinking, and smoking to ease the pain. Some moments of your life you will never forget. It was a summer's evening at a college friend's house in Maryland. It was wild, true to form, sex, drugs, and alcohol. I made a poor choice and I ingested a tab of acid. Then I would take a trip that would seem endless, relentless. I drove home on acid to Long Island. I was experiencing psychosis and fell into a deep, dark depression. That was my crippling introduction to a world of chaos, suffering, stigma, and injustice. Yet it was also an involvement of a world of growth, strength, awareness, love for others, and self-love. At 21 years old, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I had a mental illness. Would I be deemed insane because of a diagnosis? What if I had diabetes? Would that deem me insane? Bipolar type 1 is manic behavior that can last up to 7 days. It can be constituted as insomnia, spending sprees, promiscuous sexual acts, irrational and paranoid thinking, psychosis, and reckless behavior. I've been privy to all of this. Many hypersexual relationships with men, countless nights with no sleep, bankruptcy, thinking others were out to harm me or laughing at me, near-death car wrecks, leaving me with a broken back and injured ribs. The depression side of the disorder were almost indescribable. I had no motivation. I felt bedridden, almost like a bed rotting, certainly not living, merely existing. I didn't want to shower or take care of my personal hygiene. I would isolate, withdraw from everyone, all activities I once enjoyed. How I dreaded these long, dark days. I felt like a burden, worthless, and acted on self-injurious behavior. I was put on all kinds of psychotropic medicines to control the varying episodes. But it was just a matter of time before I would become immune and the doctors would have to find, quote, unquote, the right cocktail. Many times I chose not to take my medication because of some of the side effects, such as weight gain, fatigue, dryness of mouth, tremors, and the list goes on. Many times my emotions felt numb, flat, like a speaker without the amplifier. When I was on the right meds, along with practicing coping skills and spirituality, there's nothing I felt in time I couldn't do. Yet when the meds aren't working and I can't find the strength to work my coping skills or I've lost faith, the simplest of things, it feels as though I can't achieve them. Things at times have gotten so bad that I needed to be in a mental health facility. I felt extorted from my freedom, and in many ways that bleak environment traumatized me. I've run the gamut of experiences. I've had a successful career as an account executive in advertising for a long period of life. I've also had stretches where I couldn't work due to my ill health. I've eaten at the finest of restaurants. I've also relied on soup kitchens and food pantries. I've lived for long periods of time on my own at beautiful residences. When things were really difficult, I've had to live with family members. Within the last couple of years, I revisited my aspirations. I've published a memoir on my journey in the great hopes it would offer hope, positivity, and relatability, but still uniqueness. The name of my book is I Dare You to Walk in My Shoes. That's exactly how I feel. Until someone's walked in your shoes and knows what you have been through, no one has the right to judge. We all have a story to tell, and we all have a voice. The greatest aspect of my recovery is that it is threefold: mental, physical, and spiritual, and we must be working all three components. Above everything else, never give up, never give in, because a bright rainbow is just around the corner. The Logical song by Supertramp resonates with parts of my life. The song is as follows. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was so beautiful, magical, and all the birds in the trees, well, they'd be singing so happily, oh, joyfully, oh, playfully, watching me. But then they sent me away to teach me how to be sensible, logical, oh, responsible, practical. Then they showed me a world where I could be so dependable, oh, clinical, oh, intellectual, cynical. There are times when all the world's asleep. The questions run too deep. For such a simple woman, won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd. Please tell me who I am. So I want to thank everyone for being here this afternoon, for listening to aspects of my story. We continue to move forward with visions one day of really helping people with the book. and helping people in different ways, such as offering resources of recovery and healing. So thank you.
I have a question. Do you think that, you think your first hit of acid was something that could have triggered bipolar disorder? I know better, but I know also a lot of stories like that.
I
People say if
believe,
they didn't do the acid, maybe they wouldn't be.
I think with mental disease or, I think a lot of times it's within. I think it's, genetic.
Yeah,
I also think trauma definitely brings it on. So I think if my dad hadn't passed away so traumatically, I don't know if it would have came. But I do think drugs and things of that nature can definitely, bring it
Could
on.
have impacted the brain chemistry a little bit enough to. Interesting. That was a really great story. You're a great writer. You really are.
Thank you.
Very good.